Lorne. Hello? I hear you. It's
Okay.
just Ramona. No, it will never be the last chapter. Amber?
Yeah, everybody can hear you, which is good, but for some reason Sam can't.
Crap.
So, let me see. Okay, never mind. It sounds like they can. Okay. I don't know.
Okay, they can hear Sam. I can't hear him.
All right. Sam, can you say something? All right. Is he on again?
I can't hear him.
Is Sam talking?
Uh-oh.
All right. Let's fix it.
Yeah, I can't hear him either.
Oh, can you, he says there's no sound, but Yahoo Police and Joey Jeremiah can hear, is that right?
Huh.
Okay. So you guys can hear now. All right. Go ahead and put you back in. You back? All right. Can you talk, Sam?
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, you sound like you're naked.
I sound like I'm naked? Is that what you
Okay, there you go. That's better. You were breathing really hard into the phone.
Well, that has nothing to do with this project.
Can everyone hear Sam and Ramona?
Yeah, I think we're good now.
Okay, somebody says I'm too loud. Are the people in Skype, am I too loud?
No, you're better now.
Okay. Down hour says I'm too loud. Still okay. Let me pull my microphone volume back a bit. Am I still too loud? Yeah, YouTube people? All sounds good, somebody says.
Okay.
Sounds good. Okay. Right on.
All right.
Captain Spaz is anxious. Okay. Thank you, Mikey. Mikey says I'm fine, and I interpret that to mean that he thinks I'm attractive. Okay,
All right.
I'm going mute.
All right, Sam, go
All
on
right.
mute.
All right, here we go. Hey, Lorne, how's it going?
Oh, Dawn. How you going? How you doing?
I'm doing well. All things
Mom okay?
considered. Say again?
Mom okay?
Yeah, she's just freaking out, but we'll get to that. But go ahead. What were you going to say?
She's freaking out about what?
We'll get to that, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
That's what I was going to say. And say what she
Well,
freaking out about.
Well, what's new with you?
I applied for a job today that if I can get it, I'll be making double what I was making at Chafee.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, well, actually double plus.
Good, even better for you. Good job.
Yeah, no kidding.
Doing what?
Driving truck.
Nice. Are they like one of the ones paying like for the mileage or?
I'm not sure how they pay yet, but the guy told me that guaranteed it's 67,000. Make more than that, but guaranteed at 67,000.
Nice.
That's what I said. If I get nice, probably off trade. I have to ride from here to Portland, just to get to the place where I get to work.
So you go from like here to, well, here meaning where you are to Portland, and then you drive like around Maine or?
Yeah, be around Maine. I guess once in a while I have to go to Massachusetts, which I'll have to talk to my probation officer about that, and I'm sure it's all right with that, which I know it'll be all right. They'll just tell me to call when I go out of state and call when I get back in.
I think there's a good chance that they'll let you.
I think there is too. It's just a matter of getting a job. I try to call my. Didn't call me back yet. So I filled the application out anyway. So if I get the job, he calls me in the meantime. Between now and when I get the job, I can discuss it with him.
That's awesome.
So. So what's new?
Well, with my mom or in general? Well, I mean,
in general, then with your mom.
Well, my surgery, I think I told you my surgery is next week.
You told me you're going to reschedule. You never told me for when.
Yeah, so it's next week, my surgery. They're going to be on the 17th. They're going to be giving me a new ACL. And so I'm going to be up, meaning laid up, like can't put weight on it for like 4 to 6 weeks. And then if they fix the meniscus tears, it'll be 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, nice. To heal.
Say again?
So hopefully it won't take long to heal.
That's true, yeah.
You sound preoccupied. What are you doing?
No, my mom is freaking out. My dad is freaking out. You know how you had that week? Okay, let me just set the stage. You know how you had that week where you lost your job, lost your trailer, lost your vehicle, all in the same week?
Yep.
Well, that's this week, but I haven't lost things like that. But it's just that Well, I don't have a trailer, so I can't lose my trailer, but it's just like my mom is just freaking out. My dad is freaking out, and they, well, let me rewind. Yesterday, I think it was yesterday, the day before. Is that your TV I hear?
Yeah, I'm watching Titanic. You turn it down.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so and then you remember how you had that bad week, and then at the end it's kind of like you're laughing because it's like all of it piles up at once. Yeah, you can't believe it is. All of it piles up at once. So my mom and I, we were out kind of like doing like a girls' day kind of thing. I think it was the day before yesterday, the day before that. And so we did a bunch of stuff, went to the movies, all sorts of things. And one of the things we did was we went grocery shopping. And of course, who did we run into?
Oh, I'm sure.
Who?
I'm sure I can guess. The doctor.
Take a guess. Huh?
The doctor.
Wrong.
Oh.
Nope. Nope, we did not run into the doctor.
That was my first guess. So.
No, that might have been, well, no, that would have been better than who we ran into. Well, the neighbor works at a grocery store, and
oh yeah,
he works, the chain that he works at is about maybe, well, the location of the chain that he works at is maybe about 15 minutes from where we live, and I was like 45 minutes from where we live at my parents' house. And so we went to a grocery store that's by them, but it's of the same chain. And of course, he was there training people.
He was doing what?
He was there training new hires.
Oh.
Training a new manager. And so, God, this week has just been ridiculous. Anyway, and so we ran into him, and he ran up, he gave me a big hug, and my mom was like, "Oh, you know this guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's my neighbor, and he's a good friend of mine." And she, in typical my mom fashion, because my mom has the biggest mouth on this side of the country, and she doesn't mince her words, she asked, because I said, "There's a friend of mine." She said, "Just a friend?" And I said, "Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. He's my neighbor." And she said, "Why isn't he your husband?" and I said, "Mom, don't go there." And so he kind of said, like he basically said, "I'm trying to work on that." And she said, why isn't he your husband?" He said, "I'm working on it." And so I was embarrassed. I kind of started blushing. And so then when we walked away, I'm like, "Ma, I have a boyfriend, stop." And so I'm not going to tell you what she said. I won't tell you, but she.
No, tell me. You gotta tell me. I'm not going to judge your mom anyway.
I should tell you what she said.
Why not? She really doesn't know me, so I'm going to expect she said something bad.
These were her exact words. I said, "Mom, I have a boyfriend." These are her exact words. "An old registered sex offender who lives in Michigan." And I just said, "He lives in Maine." And I just said,
yeah, tell her get her back.
Get at least the state rate. And so.
So, has she seen what I look like?
Yeah, because she saw the registered sex offender page. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And so I said Michigan. And so then, like, when I said that, she kind of got mad at me and, like, she was just, like, you know, like, talking about how she raised me and all this whole stuff and how they raised me and whatever they said. And I said, Mom, I said, you don't know what you're talking about. Just stop. Just stop. And so she then says, well, I want you to talk to someone who's mutual, or not mutual, but who's, what's the word? Not mutual, but unbiased. I want you to talk to someone who's unbiased. And I said, I have friends, you know, I can talk to anybody. And she said, no, I need to see what's going on with you. I want you to talk to a therapist. It's not funny. It's not funny because I don't find that funny. That's not, like, she shouldn't have done that to me. But they did that to me, and I said to her, I said no. And she said, and
I find it funny for the simple fact that she thinks that just because somebody's on the sex offender registry, that there's something wrong with them. They're not normal people. When people just go through things and they make mistakes. Sometimes like my shit, fucking ear it up, and I'm putting things straight.
well,
the sad thing is there's going to be a lot of people on the sex offender registry because they're making laws now that sexting is even going to be a crime. So
sexting is going to be a crime?
Sexting is going to be a crime. They're already trying to pass it. They've been trying to pass it for the last year and a half, almost a year and a half. My counselor told me about that one. So there's going to be a lot of sex offenders.
How are they going to make sexting a crime? They can't regulate it.
I don't know how they're going to do it. They think of ways to do shit.
I don't think it's going to pass for 1 second.
I wouldn't think it would, but
it's not going to pass.
They're all about money.
They are. I don't think they're going to pass that any more than they would be able to pass married couples having sex with each other as making them sex offenders.
For some reason, they seem to think that sex is dirty, and it's nature. Part of nature. They do it themselves, but they think it's dirty.
Well, my mom, now that I think about it, you know, it's funny because my mom heard I was going to say the drunken sex, or not text, but conversations, but there's so many, but I don't know what she heard, but I know that there were a few of them because she tried to play one for me the other day. And so she heard that, and I then had to laugh and think, well, I'm kind of glad that they sent that and not the chat log. I don't know which is worse, but she's when I say my mom's freaking out, I mean my mom's freaking out. Like I said, I've seen my dad cry one time outside of this, and it was when, you know, I was a teenager.
Yeah, when you saw something.
At a store. I mean, because he was just like upset. I'd never done anything bad before, and you know, he's getting called to come pick me up from the mall because I had done something that I shouldn't have done. But outside of that, and that, I mean, was like tears coming out of his eyes. But I mean, this, he was bawling. And
you you can tell them they can look on my record, and I've never done anything bad before this year except an OUI. That the only reason I got it was because I didn't want my brother driving, my brother walking drunk on the road. I thought I was sober at the time, but still had some in there. I wound up falling asleep and then got in an accident. That's the only reason I got that.
I just don't know how to explain the drunken calls that they heard.
Just they don't know my history either. That's what my drunken rants and raves are all about. Being paranoid. Being paranoid because we haven't met. Scared the same things ain't gonna happen all over again.
Cause yeah, it's like they were really disturbed by that, and that's for one thing. Like, I mean, when they asked me about the RSO, I just told them what you told me about, it being your sibling's fault, and that they pretty much,
It was my fault that I did what I did, but it was.
Well, I told him that it was
my family and friends that got me to the point where I couldn't think straight about anything I was doing, that I moved away.
Yeah, I just told him what you told me. Yeah. And so...
That was a bad time in my life.
And so I'm not going to repeat what they said, but...
Repeat it. I expect that they're gonna think bad things. They don't know me. All they know is what they've seen with the tapes or whatever.
But
we have on drunk. Everything they see on the internet. They don't really know me.
But yeah, but they heard you calling me a bitch and a piece of shit. That didn't go over well.
I'm sure it didn't. Sure, it wouldn't go over well with me either. It was my daughter. I was drunk in me, and it has gone.
Well,
I don't drink it all, and I don't even miss it.
Well, so here's the thing. This is what happened. So they made me see a therapist, and I tried the whole, well, let's do one that's really close, like, because I said I have, they know, of course, of the doctor, but they haven't met him or anything. They know of the doctor, and they, so I said, well, I have a doctor friend who I'm sure has therapist friends, and and bro went to school with some people, so let's see, so let me see one of those kinds of therapists. And they were like, no, and plus I don't think that, my mom was like, no, and plus I don't think that that's legal. And so she went and she found one, and I said, and I told her, I said, I'm not going to see a therapist. I said, I live on my own. I'm an adult. You can't make me do anything. And she pulled the whole, well, if it doesn't end and if you do continue with this, you are going to not. Basically, she said, if you choose this, then you're choosing this over your inheritance.
You choose me over your inheritance.
Yeah. Say again.
that's something that's up to you. Me personally, I'd give a rat's ass less about money, but
Well, I came up with an idea, so I don't have to choose. I came up with an idea, and I told my mom I would do this, and so speaking of mom, she's messaging me because of this. Hang on a second. What does she want? Okay, anyway, so I came up with an idea. So I told my mom, I was like, well, Mom, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to break up with him, and I'll let the therapist hear. So what I'm asking you is, like, you and I, like, stage a breakup, and, he can tell my mom that I ended it, and then that'll put them at ease.
that'll put them at ease, but that's also lying.
But I got to do this, Lorne. You have no problem with lying. You've lied many, many times before, and now it's lying for the sake of...
But the whole time you told me don't lie.
No, Lorne, but this is different. And plus, you continue to lie.
I'm not lying. I'm not lying about anything.
Well, it's not about the inheritance. It's about my family freaking out. You have no idea what I've had to...
Okay, but when we do this,
Yeah.
and we're still together, what are you going to tell your parents when they find out that we're still together?
That they can kiss my ass. You have no idea what I've had to go through the past few days.
Sorry, baby. No, it's hard. I'm sorry. Trying to figure it out because
Everybody, my phone won't stop going off because everybody's messaging me, everybody's calling me, and everybody's freaking out. I left the house. I left the house, my apartment. You know what I mean? I left the house to go to work yesterday.
You left the house to go to work?
No, not work. I didn't mean to say work.
Hey, you're not supposed to be working.
I'm not working. I left. I don't even know what I'm saying.
Hang on, just take a deep breath and relax for a minute.
I can't even think straight. I've just been going through so much.
Relax for a minute, baby.
Hold on. Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
So when I left yesterday, guess he came.
Guess who came? Huh?
TJ's here.
TJ came to your
I
house?
haven't seen her in months. And he's here. And he went with me to my appointment yesterday.
He went with you where?
To my appointment yesterday. Everybody is freaking out.
Your therapist appointment.
I had a couple of doctor's appointments yesterday. And everybody's freaking out. I just feel ill. I can't even think straight. Like, I'm not used to this much
Much backlash.
pressure being on me.
You know, I know how you feel.
So,
It's not fun.
yeah, it's like,
Now you can call me a fucking asshole and piece of shit and everything like that.
well, I don't drink,
And
so.
I'll understand.
No, it's like, I'm just not used to it, and like, I made the mistake of like calling Nana. Well, it's never a mistake to call Nana, but I made the mistake of calling Nana earlier, and I said, like, when she picked up, I just said, yeah, everyone's lying, nothing they say is true, and don't believe anybody. And she didn't know, like, she didn't know what I was talking about, and I was like, oh gosh, thank goodness that they didn't tell her. Oh gosh, of course she's messaging me again. Hang on. So I told her earlier that I would call my therapist, our therapist, the therapist, whatever, and that I would be done. Like I would end it, and that they wouldn't have to worry. So if you don't want to do it, I understand, but I mean, it would just make my life a lot easier because I have a lot of people breathing down my neck. Nothing's going to change with us, but at least they would stop freaking the heck out.
For how long?
For how long what?
How long will they stop freaking out?
Oh, they'll stop freaking out.
Until they find out again that we're together.
Then you know what? Then when they find out on my time, then that's fine. But like,
This is your time. It's our time.
it's not my time. With was my time really having some bullshit sent to my parents with your picture on, with your registered sex offender profile printout and a conversation?
Did you find out who sent that?
No.
Who would be able to get your parents' address or even your parents' name?
Anyone who hacked into my phone easily has my address and possibly my social security, but easily has my parents' address. Because I still have stuff from time to time sent there. If I'm having a big package sent, I'll have Amazon send it there if there's going to be nobody in the office.
Okay, so tell me about this crap with Emma.
Who?
Ember.
No. I'm not talking about Emma. I'm talking about my parents freaking the fuck out and acting the way that they have the past few days. And I don't. Okay, I can care less about.
We're gonna get back to that, but I want to know the stuff that I got in the letter. None of that's true, or
none of that's true. And I'm not thinking about Emma. I'm thinking about my parents. And
I know.
Okay, that is where my focus is right now.
Well, I know that's where my focus is too. With just getting that letter, it fucked me up.
Well, you know what?
That letter, because I was like, what the hell's going on with that?
Well, you know what fucked me up? My parents acting the way that they have.
Well,
my
I know.
brother flying here in the middle of the night.
I understand, baby. I understand that. One thing I don't understand is I understand that. The reason I mentioned Emma in that letters because it didn't make any sense to me. And after we've been together so long, it didn't make any sense to me. So what did TJ say to you?
You know what TJ said to me. TJ said the same exact thing that everybody said with the added, no, I'm not going to go there.
Well, go ahead.
Well, let's just say he became a brand ambassador for the doctor.
Kind of expected that.
Yeah, well, why'd you make me say it?
Well, I didn't know that was exactly what you got to say or what. But we're all trying to push the doctor on you.
Yeah. But, you know what? I don't know.
But basically what they're saying is they want you to live your life for them, not for you.
Well,
they want you to live your life for what they want your life to be, not what you want your life to be.
but Lorne, I could not argue with, like, it's like, I mean, maybe I could argue the registered sex offender thing, but I cannot argue the alcohol thing, and they were not supposed to find that out. They weren't supposed to know that. And my mom has a sick sense of humor. I love her, but she has a sick sense of humor. Because
what?
well, let's just say she was quoting pieces of what she heard.
No. I can't. Nothing either one of us can do to stop that.
Lorne, I'm asking you. I'm asking you if we can do this. It'll take like, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. And I already got my parents to pay for the time, and I told her that I would do this. I already got her to pay for the time. So he's just waiting for me to call him.
We can do it, so make it easy for you right now, but what are you going to do when...
Well, I'll think about that. Well, I'll think about that in a few months. I just need to get everybody off my back. It's really getting me upset.
Yeah, but it can't be a few months before we meet either.
Lorne, we can think about that later. Just let me call him and let's just do this. Let's just do this. I don't know what he's going to say. I'm just going to... But my mom paid for the time, and so... Because I told her I was going to do it, and so let me call him. Hold on a second.
11:30 at night?
Yes, let me call him. Hold on. And let me say this: when later on, if he wants to talk to me privately, just stay on the line. I don't think he'll know. Okay. In fact, he won't know. There'll be no way. So just stay on. You can listen and stay on, and then.
All right. Let me turn the TV down, man.
All right, turn the TV down. I'm gonna get him on. Hang on.
Can you hear my TV?
I don't know if he's on. Hello?
Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hi, is this Ramona?
Yes. How are you?
Hey, good. Thanks for, I'm just here in my home office here at the house, but I've been expecting your call, so glad we were able to do this. Now, I'm to understand that your boyfriend...
Are you sure it's not too late? Are you sure it's not too late?
No, this is fine. No, we, as we discussed, this is... Yeah, no, it's no sweat, no problem at all.
I know I was supposed to do 7, and I ended up going out to dinner, and then I was supposed to do 9:30. So I know I just kept pushing it back. Thank you so much for staying up. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. Now I'm to understand that your boyfriend Lorne is on the line as well.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
right here.
Hi, Lorne. My name is Barry Viner. I'm a licensed therapist. I'm a family therapist. I specialize in adult-child parent relationships, and Ramona's parents have availed themselves of my services. Before we begin, pursuant to Vincent's Law and the requirements of the Medical and Betterment Society of the Commonwealth of Maryland, I'm required to inform you both that this phone call constitutes a private and confidential patient service session, subject to all the guidelines of patient-practitioner confidentiality, and will be treated as such. I do have to say, because of the late hour and the fact that I'm taking this call from my domicile, I will have to bill it as a house call in accordance with standard protocol. But do either of you have any questions for me regarding any of what I've told you so far?
I'm good so far.
Okay. Lauren, how about you?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Now, do you prefer Lauren or Lori? I've known a couple of Laurens in my life, and I had a friend when I was in college whose name was Lauren, but his nickname was Lori. Everybody called him Lori. So, do you prefer Lauren or Lori or something else?
Lauren.
Lauren?
Yeah, you heard of Lorne Green, right?
Yes, sir. I have.
Okay.
Okay.
Just like that. He's my namesake.
Okay, Lauren. Well, Lauren, the reason that that we're speaking tonight is because Ramona's parents recently availed themselves of my services because they're concerned about Ramona's relationship with you. And um, I have had a chance to speak with Ramona briefly. And I'll be frank with you, be candid with you. Mom and Dad's concern here is that Ramona may be in a potentially unhealthy relationship, and their objective here, I think, speaking off the record, is to facilitate a change in the nature of your relationship with her. And to be quite candid with you, this conversation that we're having is something that I had arranged with Ramona's mom, and what she wanted from this was for me to be able to verify that Ramona was taking immediate and drastic measures to terminate her relationship with you. Now, obviously, I can't compel Ramona to do this. I can't make any guarantees to her parents that that's what's going to happen. But candidly speaking, it's my professional opinion that that's what needs to happen for her sake. And so one of the things that we discussed was the possibility that she would take that action here with me as a witness. It would be something that I could then pass on to Mom and Dad to sort of satisfy their concerns, wishes, motivated by their concern for her. So obviously, I want to open up the floor to both of you. I know this is a complicated matter and certainly not an easy conversation for any of us to have. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what your thoughts are about this, and so I'm opening up the floor now for either of you to unburden yourself. Either of you have any thoughts on the matter? Anything to say, Lorne? Is this something that you have been made aware of regarding Ramona's parents' feelings toward you?
My
It's hard to think of what to say.
Here I go again. I literally have no one I can talk to about this.
Okay, so I'm hearing a lot of pent-up aggression, tension.
I'm so freaking mad at my family. Oh God.
Are you sure it's not Lauren you're angry with?
I'm just so upset. I don't know what I'm mad at. I don't know.
Lauren, how do you feel when you hear Ramona react emotionally? She's obviously very upset right now. What does that do to you?
it upsets me because I know exactly what she's going through. I've been going through it for months upon months with my therapist and my counselor and my probation officer.
In what sense have you been going through the same thing she's going through right now? Do you have people in your life telling you that she's bad for you, unhealthy for you?
Yeah, when they don't know, and she's the one who's been the most healthy for me.
Okay.
Even with all stuff, the pent up anger that I've had, she's stuck there with me, and I've been able to rely on and be there to talk to me. And
I'm glad I'm glad you mentioned the anger, because there's something I need to ask you about. I was made privy recently to a recorded phone conversation between you and Ramona, in which you were very aggressive, I would say verbally abusive, called her several derogatory names. And I'm curious to know how you justify behavior like that. Do you think she deserves to be treated that way?
No, she does not deserve to be treated that way. I've been trying to work on not being like that.
So would you say that you are like that normally? Is that typical behavior for you?
No.
So it's not typical behavior, but you're working on not doing it anymore.
I'm working on not doing it anymore. What brought it on was meeting women on the internet and getting screwed by women on the internet and lied to. Ramona's the only one that's never done it to me. And when I have my therapist, my counselor, and my probation officer all telling me that Ramona's not.
You're saying that Ramona's the only. You're saying that other women that you've met online have been dishonest, manipulative toward you, and Ramona's the only one who hasn't been. So the way you reward that behavior is by yelling at her and calling her names?
No, I get confused when I talk to my therapist and my counselor and my probation officer.
And when you're confused,
and they tell me that Ramona's not real. It confuses me and it messes me up.
So the way that you express that confusion is by yelling at her, calling her names.
Yeah.
Oh, and you don't think that's disturbing?
I do think it's wrong. I think it's wrong. I think it's disturbing, and I'm trying to cure that.
And what are you doing to try to cure it?
Talking to my therapist about it now.
And what does your therapist say?
That's confidential. That's their therapist, so you know that.
Sure, fair enough.
Stays in the office.
Ramona, how frequently would you say the recording that I'm making reference to, how typical of the conversations you have with Lorne would you say that is? Is that something that occurs every day, bi-weekly, monthly?
Well, I think right now it's been 2 weeks, I think, since he had a drink. But
So
it used to be every week and sometimes twice a week.
Lorne, do you have an issue with drinking? Obviously, you're not under any compulsion to answer any of my questions. I want you to understand. I know some of these questions are tough, but I'm operating on Ramona's behalf here. So everything that I say and do here with the two of you is in her interest. But I'd like to ask you: do you have an issue with drinking? Is it something that you do often to excess?
To excess, no.
Well, let's say
issue with it. I haven't even the issue when I drink is my emotions come out.
Okay.
And
so would you say you're more honest when you drink?
I say I'm more honest. Yeah.
You say you're more honest.
So if you're more honest about my feelings.
Okay, so if you're more honest about your feelings, when you drink, And when you drink, you're verbally abusive to Ramona and you yell at her and call her names. What does that say about your real feelings for Ramona?
And my real feelings for Ramona are very strong.
Well, they're certainly strong.
Hang on. I don't want to put words in my mouth.
I'm repeating what you said.
I'm more honest when I'm drinking about the way that I'm feeling.
Right.
With things that other people are saying to me, like my therapist, my counselor, and my probation officer.
So you're saying that you're more honest about how they make you feel. Are you more or less honest about how Ramona makes you feel when you drink? Here's my concern. This is the reason why I'm going down this road. I want to be clear about this. What I'm hearing from you is that when you drink, the real feelings that you have about everybody else except Ramona come out. And they come out in the form of a raised voice, a harsh word. And you misdirect them at Ramona because you're confused. Would you say that's an accurate summation of what you said?
Yes.
Okay. Now, put yourself in mom and dad's shoes for just a moment. Would you say that that's a healthy dynamic for your relationship with Ramona? For her to bear the brunt of the frustration that you have for other people that you can only express when you're drinking?
No, I wouldn't. That's why I quit drinking.
Okay. Well, it's good if you quit drinking, if it was causing the problem, if it was causing the excessive behavior. But the issue here, the concern is that all of that anger and rage and pent-up aggression is still there. That hasn't gone anywhere. All the alcohol does is seems to make it easier for you to express it in inappropriate ways to victimize other people. So we really have two problems here.
Now I'm with not drinking. I'm actually talking about things that are bothering me instead of holding them in.
Okay. And this is the last 2 weeks, you say? This has
been
last
2 weeks.
Okay. So what was going on?
I have opened up more than I ever have to my therapist and my counselor and my probation officer.
And what changed in the last 2 weeks? Besides the drink, I'm not talking about the drinking, because that's just a symptom of the problem. What I'm asking is, I'm to understand that you and Ramona have been together for almost a year. Is that correct?
Yes.
So how do you account for the last year?
The last year, we really haven't had much of a problem, with the exception of maybe the last 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's been more in the last 4 months.
Now, I've got to be candid with you. I've done my due diligence here in reviewing this case and had familiarized myself somewhat with your some of the legal issues that you've had. I understand that you're a registered sex offender. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Now, once again, as I said before, you're not under any compulsion to answer any of my questions, but I do appreciate your candor. I hope that you can keep it up. What would you say is the nature of the impulse that drove you to commit the sex crime in, was it Kentucky, that you ended up doing, that you ended up being sentenced to prison for? Are you a pedophile?
No.
No. I understand that this was, you made an attempt to have a sexual liaison with a 13-year-old with what you understood to be a 13-year-old girl. Is that right?
Okay, we're getting way off the topic here.
Well, we're not off the topic, sir. I'm trying to establish a character here so that I can understand firsthand whether Ramona's parents' concerns about your fitness as her lover are justified. So this is all quite salient to my endeavors to do that. And I understand these are uncomfortable questions.
Exactly. These are uncomfortable questions that I'm not
Yeah.
going to answer it now.
Okay. So you understand that from my perspective, I'm asking you to be honest about your past and you're refusing to do so. So you,
I'll be honest with my. I'll be honest with my past to Ramona's parents if it ever comes to that.
Okay. Well, I'm working on their behalf tonight, sir. So what I'm getting at here is
for me to do it over the phone with somebody I've never met or even talked to before. That's not going to happen.
okay. Fair enough. Well, obviously that is your prerogative, but it puts me in the position of.
I'll get my parents off my back. Just please, let's just cooperate. I need them to stop.
Ramona, I'm going to be candid with you. You're in a relationship with Lorne that is, from my admittedly limited perspective, fairly evidently unhealthy. And obviously, I can't compel either of you to do anything. I can't tell you that you must terminate the relationship.
Let me explain to you why I'm uncomfortable at telling you anything over the phone, being somebody I've never talked to or met before.
All right.
It winds up, everything I say somehow winds up on the internet.
Okay. On the internet. Okay.
I'm avoiding that.
So your concern is that
Sir, he knows about my phone being hacked. Both of you guys know. I don't know if you each knew that the other knew that, but he knows about how my phone was hacked and how some of my calls ended up where they shouldn't have been, and that's how my parents were able to get a call from. Well, actually, they had 3 calls that were on a CD, and that was mailed to them, which is just great, which is something every daughter wants. And so they, I don't know if they know that that's what happened, but I don't know if they know that that's how they came into possession of those items, was that they were hacked off my phone. But I don't even think they care. They weren't even concerned about that. They were just more concerned about what they heard in the call.
Well, I have to be honest. I have to be honest. I'll be candid with you. I enjoy using the word candid. Based on what I know, which, as I said, is admittedly not a whole lot, I would have to say that I agree with Mom and Dad in expressing their concern about the fitness of this relationship. Besides the fact that it's ostensibly a long distance relationship, you two have never met in person. Is that correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. It seems like the best, Ramona, that you can ever hope to be for Lorne from this position is the recipient of his aggression when he doesn't have anyone else on which to take it out. And when we combine that with what Lorne seems to have admitted earlier is an issue with alcohol, and we combine that with the fact that you are a convicted felon.
I did not admit to having an issue with alcohol.
Well, fair enough, but that's what I surmise.
I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. Well, the issue is not that you quit drinking. The issue is that you started drinking. The issue is that you needed to quit drinking. In other words,
when I drank. That's why I quit drinking.
Okay. But you started drinking, right? You had to start before you could quit, isn't that right? So it's the starting that
but I started way back when I was in the Air Force.
Well, that doesn't bolster your case at all, sir. That makes my point, if you understand what I'm saying. So it's a long-term
problem. Like anything does.
Yeah. So, Ramona, I'm just going to be candid with you. I think that it would be in your best interest to terminate this relationship. I'm in agreement with mom and dad on this. I think that if companionship is something you need, that you really feel like you have a need for, that you don't prefer to be alone, or you feel like you need to have somebody there, that you should seek someone out. Your mom had made mention of a couple of people that she feels like could be eligible for you.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to. Well, she didn't name any names. She said that you know a couple of young professionals, one in the medical field and one who works in retail, and people that you're familiar with. And she was speaking off the cuff, and I'm speaking off the cuff. I'm not telling you, this is not my professional opinion that you must see. But the point that I'm making is that you need. And all of this is to say nothing of the fact that there's a huge age difference, and that is of a concern, especially given the nature of Lorne's legal issues. And Lorne, I'm not trying to embarrass you or insult you when I say that. I'm just being candid, because I like to use the word candid a lot.
What does age have to do with it when she's over of age?
Well, it legally nothing, but psychologically, you seem to have an impulse toward younger women. You seem to have an impulse toward a predilection for potential partners who are significantly younger than you, and that's what we call. I would say so. Ramona's half your age, and you were arrested for attempting to have sex with a 13-year-old. That's certainly a suggest. That wouldn't you agree? That's suggestive of a pattern.
First of all,
yes, sir.
You don't know anything about my criminal offense. So
that's not true. I may not know everything about it, but I know something about it. I know more than nothing. I know that you did time for it. You pleaded guilty to.
Yes, that is the only thing that you know. You don't know anything about it.
Well, wouldn't you agree that's fairly significant?
You have no idea about it.
You don't think that's fairly significant? You don't think that from an outsider's standpoint? No, it's not. What I should believe you instead.
I don't think it's significant until you know the story.
Well, let me ask you a question. Why don't you tell me in one or two sentences what really happened? Did you try to have sex with a 13-year-old?
I don't owe that explanation to you.
No, but you certainly can't. What you're saying is that I shouldn't believe the available evidence, but that you're not going to tell me anything. So your innocence should be my default position. Surely you can see how ridiculous that sounds.
I don't owe you anything.
You don't owe me anything. You're absolutely right. But in the absence of your testimony to me, all I have to go on is the evidence. And the evidence says that you're guilty of the crime for which you're convicted.
The only thing that I care about
if you want to tell me something, okay, that has no bearing on what we're talking about right now. I'm supposed to say, did you try to have sex with a 13-year-old?
Is my offense.
The only thing I care about is
reason for you to know the depth of my offense.
Certainly not. But in the absence of your direct testimony to me, all I have to go on is the available.
The only thing that I care about is that Ramona is happy.
Wonderful. If you want her to be happy,
I'm changing things about me so I can make sure that I make her happy.
Fair enough.
She feels that
what does any of that have to do with what I said? What does any of that have to do with what I've said about the nature of the relationship?
With what I just said, it makes no reason for you to know anything about what I have to say about my criminal history.
Whether or not you divulge your criminal history to me has no bearing on whether you want Ramona to be happy. Do you want her to be happy? You want her to be healthy, right? So what if I told you that objectively the best way for her to be healthy and therefore happy would be to be away from you? What would you say then? What if it turns out that the best thing for Ramona is to not be with you? Do you still want that for her? Or is her happiness less important than yours?
How is it that you're a therapist and you're trying to overvoice me?
Because you're trying to do the same thing to me. I'm not entitled to stand my ground. If you try to,
my My therapist.
I'm not your therapist.
When I started
I'm Ramona's
talking,
therapist.
when I started talking, my therapist always stays quiet so she can hear what I'm saying.
That's because you're her patient. You're not my patient. Ramona's my client.
That's right. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
working on her behalf, not yours.
Instead of trying to talk
So
over
I'm not
me,
obligated to
wouldn't you
treat
rather
you
hear
any.
what I have to say?
I want to hear what you
So
had
you
to say.
can make a
You
better
just told me
judgment?
that you're not going to say. I would like to hear very much what you had to
You,
say.
you
told
seem
me
to
you're
be
not going to talk
you
about
seem
it.
to be set on knowing about my criminal history.
Yeah, you don't think that's significant. If I'm evaluating your fitness to be Ramona's
I don't,
romantic
I don't
partner,
think it's significant for you to know.
and I'm trying to evaluate you. In other words, your character is not significant for me if I'm in the context of my evaluating your fitness to be her companion. Are you kidding me?
Well,
You can't be serious.
You want to evaluate me? You do that in person. Don't do it over
We're-
phone where I could wind up on the internet. That's not going to happen.
So is that your concern? The only reason you're not talking about the only reason you're not talking about your criminal past now is because you're afraid that it could end up on the internet. Is that right?
Exactly. Nobody on the internet needs to know anything about me.
Well, as it happens, your motive for not wanting to discuss the matter is immaterial. I have to go on what I know. I can't go on what you want me to assume about you as it pertains to your guilt or innocence. So
you go on
we're
what
back.
You want.
So
all I care about is Ramona being happy.
And we're back to where I was 10 minutes ago, which is saying, Ramona, as your therapist, it is my professional opinion that this relationship is not a good fit for you. This guy doesn't even know me. I'm talking to him 10 minutes and he's yelling at me. I wonder how long is it going to be before you call me a bitch?
And you're a therapist and you're yelling at me. Ain't that smart?
I'm not your therapist. You understand? I can tell you whatever I need to. Especially.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Thank God for that, because I would have fired you the first time you raised your voice.
Well, I wouldn't have taken the case, so you wouldn't have had the chance. Now, Ramona, it's my opinion that you need to terminate this relationship. In telling you that, I have done all I can do, unless you want me to elaborate on my concerns here. But
I'd like you to elaborate. I can tell you, you probably want to terminate because you're offended by me.
No, I tried
to you.
In the first place, Lorne, I was
probably offended because I won't tell you about anything about before.
No, I'm not offended.
My criminal history.
I just think it's interesting that when I consult the legal record, you get offended. You say that the legal record doesn't tell the whole story. So I say, okay, well, tell me the whole story, Lorne. No, I refuse because it might be on the internet. You can't have it both ways. If you're not going to tell,
I don't owe you anything.
No, but not.
You want to get in? You want to get in person? Then I'll explain it to you.
Well, come see me, Lorne.
Don't forget it.
9 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Go ahead. Come
Just got to make
right
an
up here and see me. I can't stay to Maine right now.
I know all I need to know about you. If there's something you think I should know about you that I don't know already, you come see me. Okay. Failing that, I'm going to.
You call my probation officer and you tell that.
This is Lorne. Lorne,
permission so that I can come down here to see you. Then I'll come down and see you.
I'm not going to do.
Don't tell me. Then you can explain to me why you're yelling.
I don't work for you. I'm not going to do anything. If you have something you want to say to me, say it. Otherwise, stop talking so that I can finish what I have to say to Ramona. Now, do you have anything to say to me of substance? I'm not talking about. I think you're a terrible therapist.
Substance. I think it's trying to dig in somewhere you don't need to be digging into.
Okay, I appreciate you expressing your thoughts about what I should be doing as Ramona's therapist. Ramona, you've heard my piece on it. As you know, we discussed this when we sat down with Mom and Dad earlier this week, and we agreed that I would convey the essence of this phone session with them. So I need to know what you intend to do here. If you intend to terminate this relationship or continue to pursue it.
Ramona, if you want to terminate it, that's up to you. I just want you to be happy.
Why do you think that this can't be worked out?
Well, for all the reasons I've
Like,
articulated.
why do you think he can't change?
I'm not going to say that he can't change, but let me give you an analogy. A person with a cold can change. They can eventually take medication and be cured of their cold, but you don't want to be around that person while they're still sick, because you'll get sick too. And in the case of someone with the issues that I suspect Lorne may have, it's unhealthy for you to be in this relationship as long as he's still in the process of becoming well. Now, if at some point in the future he's able to deal with some of the issues that I think he obviously has, maybe it can be a different situation. But frankly, even in the best of circumstances, let's say that Lorne were a healthy individual that was a good fit for you, it's still only half a relationship. You're on the phone, you're 1,000 miles away. Meanwhile, you have eligible people around you, and if companionship is something that you need, I think you need to consider your other options. I'm just being candid with you, because I think you can handle it. I think you need to hear it. And Lorne, I know it's not comfortable, easy for you to hear that. I know you probably don't agree with it, but I'm hopeful if your objective here really is what you claim it is, which is Ramona's best interest. I think if you look at it objectively, you'll see it the way I do. Now, it's immaterial whether you do or not.
What I care about is Ramona being happy.
That's right. You said that, and let me ask you this. Let me give you a hypothetical, okay? And don't fly off the handle. What if it were the case that the best thing for Ramona were not to have any association with you? Would you still want what's best for her?
Yes, I would.
Okay. Then I want you to consider the possibility.
I want her to be happy is what I want.
Then I want you to consider the possibility, and I hope you'll consider the possibility that may be what she needs, is a clean break from you. Now, Ramona, obviously you're the only one that can action that, make it a reality. So I need to know what you want me to tell your parents. If there's a resolution to this.
To go to hell. Oh gosh. You know what?
I know.
Start crying, talking about.
I know it's a tough thing. Let's do something. Let's try a little quick exercise here. Why don't you tell me what you get out of this relationship?
Say again?
I want you to tell me, if you can, what you get out of this relationship, how you feel it benefits your life.
I enjoy talking to Lorne when he's sober, and he is funny. I've always said that he's very funny. He definitely makes me laugh. Like he does make funny jokes, and he's very goofy. He has a goofy sense of humor. And
do you think that's a sufficient foundation for?
Well, he makes me laugh.
Okay.
And he's a musician. He wants to be a country singer, and even though, admittedly, I am not the biggest fan of country music, although there's a few songs I like. I'm supportive of that if that's what he wants to do, and that would be interesting for me to see that career take off.
Lorne, is that your profession now? Is that what you do now for a living? Music, country music?
No, I drive a tractor now.
You drive a tractor, you say?
The tractor trailer, yeah.
Okay.
Right now I'm unemployed. I was driving tractor trailer. Now
You're
I'm searching for another
unemployed.
job.
Okay.
Yeah,
What
I'm
was?
collecting unemployment right now.
Okay. How long have you been unemployed?
Oh, it's been 3 months because I've had to move in the process. So,
Uh-huh.
I had to fight to get unemployment. So,
You apply. You did. Are you collecting unemployment presently? Yeah. You don't have to answer these questions, of course.
yeah,
You are collecting. Okay.
I'm collecting. Yeah, I'm collecting unemployment right now. Been out looking for a job, and I've got some good potential jobs that
Oh.
will actually be making double what I made before.
Well, I know that the nature of our conversation here tonight, I've upset you, and that wasn't my intention. But as I said, I have to be candid. I love using the word candid, and I have to be honest about what I see as a professional therapy guy. And I'm working.
If you and I were face to face, I wouldn't have any problem at all telling you everything about what happened.
Okay, I understand that. I understand your concerns given the compromise. Right. I understand that. But you have to see it from
about me going on the internet. There's people on the internet that's obsessed with me, and it's really weird, and it's odd for me, and uncomfortable, and so.
You say people that are obsessed with.
He thinks he's a celebrity already. He's not put out his first country album, but he already thinks he's a celebrity. But no, I'm upset.
I mean, I don't agree with that celebrity status.
What makes you think that you're, Lorne, if I can, what makes you think you're a celebrity? This is interesting. I mean, it's when
because of the crap online about me.
Okay, can you explain that in more? I don't know a lot of.
Not be known.
You'd rather not. Okay. Again. All right. Well.
Just Google his name. I mean.
Well, I'll tell you what I've seen. I read some of the legal summaries. I was able to see, this incident, with the television show. I saw all that footage, and I read. There's a website that has all this information. Has this chat. Repository of this conversation that you had with this, what you thought was a 13-year-old girl. So I've read all that. It was a lot. It was 400 pages or something. It was took me a couple days to plow through. Okay. I mean, see, this is.
God, you read,
but you have to.
read it all?
Face to face, I would tell you, but
but this is a problem. I mean, this is a problem for me. Candidly, I love using that word. When you refuse to tell your side of the story, you leave me no choice but to draw conclusions based on what I know. Okay, I know that. I mean,
it's not like I have big choice.
Well,
I really don't have a choice.
Fine, that's fine. But I have to give counsel to my clients on the basis of what I can verify. I can't just take you at your word. If you say I'm innocent, but I can't tell you any more than that. In other words, here's what I'm wondering.
I'm not saying I'm completely innocent. What I did was wrong. Things I said was wrong. Do?
You say what I did was wrong. What did you do? What do you admit to doing?
Admit to doing everything that you see on the internet. On the
okay. So that's what I see on the internet and the chat log is that you groomed what you thought was a 13-year-old girl to have a sexual relationship with you. That's what I see on the internet. So when you tell me that you're guilty of what I see on the internet, we're right back to square one. You see that?
Well, right back to square one puts us right at the point where I can't tell you any more than what you're already know.
But you just said that you are guilty of what's on the internet.
I said if you were face to face. If you're face to face, I would have no problem.
You did say that. You also said that you are guilty of what's on the internet, and what's on the internet is that you groomed what you thought was a 13-year-old for a sexual relationship. So you did do that.
Said those words, It was me that said those words, and
Okay,
me that went
so-
to the house. Nobody else did it.
Okay, so then we're right back
It
to,
was me.
okay, then we're
Right
back
to
where we
square one,
started.
Where I can't tell you any more than that.
What if all
I
you're
can-
doing
I
is
Take
appealing your
responsibility for what
innocence?
I did.
If all you're doing is appealing your innocence, why would it matter if that did end up on the internet? Wouldn't you want that to be on the internet where people could hear you make your case? I don't understand. In other words, obviously we don't want what this discussion to be on the internet. And Ramona already knows that if it does end up on the internet, then I'll have legal recourse against her because that's obviously a violation of the patient side of the patient practitioner confidentiality. So.
Wait, sir. Sir, I can't even talk. Would you be able to take some kind of action against me if it does? Because my phone has been getting hacked.
Well, I'm not saying that I would. I'm not even saying that I could. It would depend on the circumstances. If you were knowingly recording this conversation and publishing it for some public consumption without my knowledge or without Lauren's knowledge, then yes, I would have legal recourse because I'm the practitioner. But if it was somebody else that hacked your phone or something, that's obviously a different circumstance. So no, if there's no malicious intent on your part, then you're not culpable. But that's immaterial.
No,
I didn't say any of that. That's not the point. The point that I'm making is, Lauren, from your perspective, if your response to what I've asked you is to appeal your innocence, I don't understand why you would have a problem with that being recorded anyway. I mean, all this other stuff that we've discussed, if it's being recorded, it's all been recorded, right? So all this other stuff is, you see what I'm saying? If all you're going to do is tell your side of the story, why is that suddenly confidential?
What I'm saying is there's more to the story than me just going on the internet and talking to a 13-year-old girl and saying things to her that I shouldn't have said.
Okay. But you admit that you did say things to her that you shouldn't have said.
Yes, I did.
You said the things that are in the chat log that I read, correct?
Yeah, well, there's some stuff in there that I didn't say.
Mm-hmm. Did you make sexually inappropriate sexual remarks to what you thought was a 13-year-old girl? I
did, and this was all 10 years ago.
Right, but you see what I'm trying to establish a pattern of behavior here because I'm trying to sketch a character here so that I can understand you better. Because you see, I can't, if I'm going to advise Ramona about how she should proceed in her relationship with you, or if she should at all, I've got to know something about you. You see what I'm saying? That's what all this is about. I'm not trying to.
You can also consider that 36 years before that, I never had a criminal record at all, except for one DUI that was barely over the limit, and I thought that I was sober.
Okay,
the only reason that I drove was to make sure that my brother didn't drive and didn't walk drunk.
But Lauren, listen, that doesn't strengthen your case. It weakens it, and it strengthens mine. Let me tell you why. My advice to Ramona, based on what I know about you, is that you have sexual proclivities that may not be healthy or safe, and you may have a drinking issue. You've just admitted that you made sexually inappropriate remarks to what you thought was a 13-year-old girl, and that the only other legal issue you'd had prior to that was a DUI. Those both speak to my reservations about you. They all they do is bolster my concerns. What I'm saying is, you may have a drinking problem. You may have a.
Before that, 36 years before that, I never had an issue at all.
Well,
I
Lauren,
never had any record at all.
Before a murderer murders, he's never murdered anybody. Should that mitigate his guilt as a murderer?
Well, I didn't murder anyone either.
No, but if you tried to have sex with a 13-year-old girl once, that's enough. And then 10 years later, you're trying to pursue a relationship with someone half your age. That suggests a proclivity for young girls. Absolutely, it does. Are you kidding? How does it not? How?
When I was 19, I dated a 29-year-old.
Okay.
Did that make me look bad? Did that make her look bad?
No, if I was, I mean, I don't know any 19-year-old who wouldn't date a 29-year-old if they had the opportunity. That's just a guy being a guy. I'm kidding. But listen.
So, what about the lady that I dated? She was 29 dating a 19-year-old. Did I make her look bad?
Yes.
How?
Because it's the same dynamic. You sure?
Age is a number.
Thank you.
If two people like each other, what does the number have to do with it? What is it for anybody else to tell those two people that they can't be together?
What constitutes two people liking each other? What does that? Let's unpack that a little bit. What does it mean when we say two people like each other? What does that mean? Why do two people like each other? Because they have.
Okay, well, Ramona and I have been together for almost a year.
Yeah.
And we haven't even met in person yet.
Mm-hmm. Let's make it more general.
There must be something between us that makes each other like each other.
Maybe, but that doesn't mean it's healthy or good. See, that's what I'm trying to get at. I obviously there's an interest.
There must have been something healthy about it.
Why? What people
obviously it hasn't been bad all the whole time.
How do you know? How do I know?
How
do I know just because you say so? Couple. What I'm saying is that the length is not an indicator of healthiness in a relationship. I mean, there's people that spend their whole. It can be. I'm saying that it can. What I'm saying is that when two people have a connection, an emotional bond, right? That's based on something. That's based on some something that they identify in each other. That is, there's a like spirit there, and let me give you an example.
There must be something alike with me and Ramona.
Well, you keep trying to bring this back to you, Ramona, and I'm trying to establish a pattern of behavior on your part because that's the more pressing matter for me as someone who's trying to evaluate you as regards your fitness to be in a relationship with her. If you show a proclivity for
this is the one thing that we disagree on. Is that it matters to me what Ramona thinks about me.
That's fine.
Why I'm trying to change.
Okay, but I'm not. That's fine. But that's it.
She is the only reason
that has no bearing on what I'm talking about right now. You keep trying to go back to you're trying to.
She is the only reason
Lorne,
that makes
you're
me.
trying to make an appeal to emotion here, and what you want me to do is be impressed by this emotional allegiance that you seem to have to her, and I'm not buying it because that has no bearing on the elements of information I'm trying to extract from the situation. I'm trying to determine something about your character, about your fitness to be her partner. And it doesn't, I don't give a damn about how you feel emotionally. Emotions are an effect. They're not a cause. And you seem to be someone who's driven by his emotions.
There in order for us to get emotions to each other.
Say that again?
There must have been a cause there in order for us to get emotions to each other.
Absolutely. But that doesn't mean that it's a healthy cause. That's what I'm saying. In other words, just
we both like and enjoy each other.
Well, that's crack addicts enjoy being around crack. That doesn't make crack good for them.
It must be something good for me and her because we seem to work our problems out with each other.
What if you're crack?
Again, against all odds because we've never met. Plus, I've constantly had my therapist, my counselor, and my probation officer all trying to get me away from Ramona.
Okay,
we've never met.
Now let's think
face to face.
Let's think about this. Your therapist wants you to get away from Ramona. Correct?
They want me to make a healthy choice. They want me to be face to face with someone.
Let's keep this simple, please. Yes or no? Yes or no? Your therapist wants you to detach from Ramona. Yes?
She wants me to be face to face with Ramona.
Okay, that's not possible right now for whatever reason. So she doesn't think you should be in this relationship as it's constituted presently. Correct?
Unless it's going to be healthy.
Okay. Your parole officer seems to be saying maybe you should make a break from Ramona. Yes?
she's saying that unless we meet.
Okay. Okay. Ramona's therapist is saying that you should make a break from Ramona. Yes? You see where I'm going with this?
Is that what you're
Kind of
saying?
seems like there's a consensus developing among those who are best qualified to evaluate the situation.
Okay, but I haven't heard Ramona's therapist say that we should meet so we could really find out. But that's what my therapist, my probation officer, and my counselor are all saying.
Well, that's because, Lorne, in the best case, she's going to go meet up in person with a convicted sex offender that she's never met in real life. That could be a lethal situation for her. How do we know?
More about
With
me
a
than
drinking
my own
problem
mother
and
knows
anger
about.
issue. So she's going to go to a place where she doesn't know anybody and meet someone that she's never met in person, who's been convicted of sex crimes, has anger issues and an alcohol problem. Does that sound like something I should recommend she do?
Ramona knows more about me than my own mother knows about me.
What does that have to do with what I'm saying? She knows more about you than I do, but what I do know about you is that you're a convicted sex offender with anger issues and an alcohol problem.
But you don't know the reasons.
And no job. Say again?
She knows the reasons. Oh, and no job. You throw that in.
Okay, Lorne. Let me
I worked and I cashed in my vacation time just so I could work.
Let me be blunt with you.
Does that make me a bad person?
You just said she knows the reasons. She knows the reasons. Well, let me say this. If you're a convicted sex offender who tried to have sex with a 13-year-old, you have anger issues and an alcohol problem, I don't care what the reason. There's nothing you can say to me that would make me say, well, then that's understandable that you're a sex offender and an alcoholic because of reasons. Because of whatever reasons.
I don't need you to keep throwing
if
that
those
in
things
my face.
are true.
Okay, if you tell me or not, I'll still tell you the same thing over and over again until you hear what I say.
That's fine. You don't want me to keep throwing
me being a convicted sex offender.
You know what you're saying?
Keep throwing that in my face.
Stop throwing reality in my face. Stop hitting me with facts. That's what you're telling me right now. Quit reminding me of the truth.
Every day I deal with it.
Well,
without somebody telling me. It's constantly in my mind.
Yeah, it should be.
I don't need somebody reminding me of it. It's constantly in my mind.
I'm not here to do what
you don't need somebody that I don't know trying to throw it in my face.
Frankly, I'm not concerned with what you need me to do or not do. I'm concerned about Ramona's best interest. And when it comes to that, these facts about happen to be salient.
What it has to do with my life.
Say that again?
I said you're showing more concern with the stuff that has been going on in my life.
Yeah, because those are things that tell me something about you. And learning about you is how I'm able to determine whether you're fit to be in a relationship with her, which is my concern here.
When you don't know the whole story, you don't know anything about me other than what you have seen NBC put out. That's what you know.
So let me ask you this then. You don't want to talk. You won't tell me the whole story. You keep saying, well, you don't know the whole story, which I'm not going to tell you. but let's ignore that for a second and let's just make this more general. What on earth could you possibly say to me that would mitigate the fact that you tried to have sex with a 13-year-old? Is there? Let me ask you a question. Do you have girls in your family, nieces or a daughter, anything like that? You know any young girls in your family that you care about? If somebody said to you, Lorne, somebody tried to manipulate your niece into having sex with him, is there anything that I could follow that with, right? That would change how you felt about him? If I said, well, Lorne, I got to tell you, this guy tried to have sex with your 13-year-old niece, but you don't know the whole story because you see, and then is there anything I could say after that would change your feeling about that guy at that moment? You say, I don't give a damn what his reason is. He tried to have sex with a 13-year-old. That's bad. It's objectively wrong. And I don't care what your reasons for doing it are. You did it.
I don't care if you care.
Okay. Then can I finish
You
what I
don't
was saying?
know. So
I don't know.
what
And since you won't tell
has
me,
no bearing on how I feel, and I deal with it every day.
well, then it's fortunate for you that I don't care how you feel. I care about Ramona.
And the last thing I need is for you to throw up my face.
Well, I'm not concerned with whether or not it makes you uncomfortable when I keep bringing it up. You did it. It's a part of who you are, and that has to be a significant
It's not
factor.
a part of who I am.
It is a part
of my life that I messed up.
except that you clearly
did something
have a
wrong.
predilection for girls younger than you, women younger than you. Now, obviously, there's no legal issue here.
Except for what?
Is a legal adult,
Except for
but
what?
he's also. I said, obviously, it's a proclivity on your part to pursue younger women. I'm not going to say girls because Ramona's a legal adult. There's no legal issue here, but this is about behavioral tendencies on your part. That's what I'm looking for, and that's what I'm concerned with. You clearly have an interest in women who are much younger than you, and that's indicative of some mental health issues on your part. Now, it's not my place to diagnose you. Like as we said many times, I'm not your I'm not your therapist. But as it happens, I don't need to be. That's not what I'm here to do. What I'm here to do is advise Ramona based on what I have known, what I've learned about you in doing my due diligence, and what I've been able to ascertain about you in talking to you here tonight. And based on that information, I don't think it's a good situation for her. I don't think it's a good situation for you, but that's irrelevant. I'm not concerned with you. I'm concerned with her, and I don't think it's a good situation for her. Now, I've made my concerns known explicitly, candidly.
I have a question though. I mean, how long does it take someone to cure themselves of the things that he's dealing with?
Well, frankly, that all depends on the willingness of the individual to acknowledge his need to be cured. What I hear from Lorne is a lot of denial, a lot of deflection. He really wants to appeal to extenuating circumstances to explain his mistakes. That's very unhealthy. That's a very bad tell about his mental state. And more salient to your well-being, Ramona, it's a very bad tell concerning his fitness to be your companion. Because he doesn't want to take ownership for the things he does. And
Really?
he seems, yes, sir. And he seems, excuse me, Lorne, I'm talking to Ramona. I'm trying to answer Ramona's question. Please don't interrupt.
Just because I'm not telling you this is my whole story, doesn't mean that you have the right to say that I don't want to take ownership. I take ownership in what I did.
Which is try to have sex with a 13-year-old girl. Which is drive drunk. Which is call Ramona a bitch.
Once again, they're trying to get information out of me.
I'm not trying to get information out of you. I'm confronting you with the reality of what you've done.
Well, face to face, I'll tell you.
Okay,
I'm not telling you.
Face to face, maybe you'll change my mind. I wouldn't bet on it, but it's possible. But we're not face to face. So since we're not face to face and you don't want to talk about it, I'm going to finish what I started to say to Ramona. I'll thank you to keep your mouth shut. Ramona, I think that you need to.
If you said that in a different way, it might help.
I'm not going to say that. Stop acting like a kid. I'll stop talking to you like one. You're acting like a You're acting like a petulant child. You won't let anybody else finish a sentence. You keep raising your voice.
Well, show a little respect when you talk. Don't tell me to keep your mouth shut.
I'm not being Lauren, I'm not obligated to be nice. I'm not obligated to handle you with kid gloves. I'm not obligated to use flowery language because anything else will hurt your feelings and treat you with kid gloves. If you keep opening your mouth and interrupting me when I'm trying to say something to somebody else, when I'm trying to talk to my patient, you know, if we were in person, maybe I'd do more than tell you to shut your mouth. But since all I can do is tell you to shut your mouth, shut your mouth. Let me finish what I have to say to her. What's that?
What would you do?
What would I do? It depends on what you do. And that's my point. It depends on what you do. The circumstances are a function of your actions. If you act civilly, nothing. If you act like a jerk, whatever I need to do to get you to stop acting like a jerk. That's what I do. Interpret it any way you like. Yeah, what I'm doing is in response to what you're doing. If you stop acting like a jerk,
you're gonna hit me?
No, I didn't say that. Is that what you heard? Is that how you settle things? Is that how you settle arguments? Is that how you settle an argument with Ramona?
You say.
Had one too many drinks and the officer upset you and you got to let out a little aggression? Is that how you would handle yourself in person? Yeah, let's talk about what you would do in person, Lorne.
That's how I took what you said.
Why? I wonder why your mind went right to that. Your mind went right to physical violence.
Because you're aggressive way you're talking.
Yeah. You can take that 100 different ways. You decided to take it as a physical threat. That's very telling. Very interesting.
How many fights have you been in? Talk aggressively like you are.
How many fights have you been in? How many fights have you been in your life?
One.
Yeah? What did she say?
Yeah. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, it is. I think it is. I thought it was pretty good. Now,
I want to. It's called probably because you're not a professional. Professional wouldn't say something like that.
Wait till Ramona's parents get my bill, then we'll see how professional I am. I charge like one. They're gonna love you. They're gonna love you when they see what I charge for a 3-hour house call. It was a phone call. That's really gonna boost your.
That's why you're trying to say all this stuff so you can make the time longer. So you can get more money out of Ramona's parents.
Hey, all you got to do is tell
your sounds like to me.
That's all. All you got to do is tell your side of the story. So, Ramona, Ramona, you've heard my take on as a professional, and I just need to know.
I do have some questions. Am I?
Sure.
I do have some questions. So I got your answer about like how long. Like, I mean, is my being around him, is that more likely to make him change quicker?
I don't think so. No, and the reason I say that is because as long as you are his focus, anything he does will be done for the benefit of gaining your approval, which is not the reason for him to deal with the things he needs to deal with to get better. He's got to do it because it's the right and healthy thing to do objectively, regardless of how it affects the perception of anyone about whose opinion he's concerned. As long as he's got someone around him that he feels is evaluating him, that's going to be the impetus for any action he takes. And it can't be if the action is to be real and lasting, which is what he needs to do before he can be a good fit for anybody. The best thing that you can do is break yourself off clean. And as I said before, depending on the nature and the profundity of the emotional connection that you feel like you have with him, if you need some time, that's one thing. You should probably take it. If you feel like you need a companion, then you need a real relationship and a whole relationship, an entire relationship with someone who's frankly closer to your age, closer to your socioeconomic status, and closer geographically, because the physical component is an important part of the heavy relationship. Does that make sense?
Are you saying like sex and everything?
Sure, we can put it in those terms. I just mean that obviously there's a closeness. I mean, Lawrence alluded to it himself numerous times, or over the duration of this conversation, that there's a difference between being physically present with somebody and just talking to them on the phone. Obviously the sexual component is significant for many people, but beyond that, there's just the psychological effect of being in proximity with this person and being able to share space with them and hold hands with them, go eat together, that sort of thing. I mean, just all the little things that make companionship so wonderful. Those are things that you need and that you deserve. Does that make sense?
Like, because, like, I don't know what his plans are now as far as, as far as we're concerned, and, like, being together. And for a while, he was talking about moving down here. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but he has to get off of, when he finishes his registered sex offender class, and then he might be able to get off probation. He'd be able to move down here, but like, barring that, then it'll be, that's when he'll be able to move down here. So I mean, I guess he's making plans. I don't know. We haven't met or anything, so I'm not holding him to do that until we meet. But
that would be my plan, because I don't want to take her away from her family.
Well, Ramona, I think I've made my professional opinion on the matter pretty clear. Obviously, if you have any other questions, we can talk about them. If not,
do you think I have a question. I came up with an idea, and if you want to talk to me privately, and Lorne will hang up. If you want to talk to me privately, then we can. If you have anything else to say, but
I think that might be okay. It might be good. Might be able to say some things without getting interrupted. But I do need to know what you want me to tell your parents regarding the resolution that we discussed. If you intend to terminate the relationship, or if you intend to continue to pursue it at this time. I am committed to communicating with them tomorrow about our conversation here tonight. So I do need to know what you want me to convey to them.
okay. Hang on one second.
Okay.
Okay. Just a second. I gotta